Yo, what's up with y'all, man? I hope you're doing good. If you're new and you're a fan of the NBA, subscribe to this channel. So let's get straight into it.
It's like it's Minute Maid, hijack 4, renegade, 24, number 8, Kobe shit fade away. Ballin' since 11th grade, still in school, let them hate.
Still, so as y'all know, they happen and appear every single year in the NBA draft. They outshine so many people who were taken ahead of them. Last year, someone who got my vote as the steal of the year from the NBA was Kevin Porter Jr. He was easily a top 10, debatable top 7 to 6 rookie from his class. A talent like him has GMs literally kicking themselves because he was passed up on 29 times. Who in this year's draft gives off the same steal feels as KPJ, as a Brandon Clark, as a Donovan Mitchell, a Devontae Graham, or hell, maybe even a Nikola Jokic who was drafted back in the 2014 NBA draft in the second round. That's so crazy to believe. We're on those types of vibes today, boys. Now hit that like button to let me know what type of vibes you are on as well. A fan favorite from this draft class was Tyrese Maxey. It was a common thing to see him selected in the lottery in most people's mock drafts. I mean, just look at him. He's a good 3-level scorer whose energy is literally contagious. It's spread more than COVID out here, and he's a competitor on both ends of the floor. Now, he isn't your ideal 2-guard, but he is to fill. One of the most important things to take into consideration when thinking about who can be a steal from this year's NBA draft class is who is likely to get some of the most opportunity on their team. And that man, Tyrese Maxey, is up very high on this list because who is his competition at the shooting guard position? Who is it? You know who it is, and I know who it is, and I really don't want to say his name, but it is that man, Danny Green. Now, Tyrese Maxey does not only have that much competition in Danny Green, but in the future, I'm pretty sure that the Sixers are hopeful that Tyrese Maxey can be the eventual starter over guys like Seth Curry as well. Now, Tyrese legitimately has this size of a point guard. He's not no big body 2-guard, even though he is actually a 2-guard and has the playstyle of a 2-guard. Now, that would matter to 99% of the NBA, but the one team that size really doesn't matter if you're a guard is the Philadelphia 76ers, because they already have a big guard who can legitimately guard 1 through 4 and maybe even some 5s in Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is exactly what a guy like Tyrese Maxey needs, and Tyrese Maxey needs a point guard like Ben Simmons in his life. Tyrese Maxey slipped all the way down to number 21 in the 2020 NBA draft, and a lot of people saw that as a complete shocker and already was casting him and labeling him as the steal of the draft. And I ain't gonna lie, those bold claims aren't really so bold, because if you just know how talented this man is when it comes to shooting the ball, even though, again, I've said this every single time I mention Tyrese Maxey on my channel, don't look at his shooting numbers because they are pretty deceiving. Even though his shooting number says that he's not a good shooter, he actually is a good shooter. He's a good shooter from 3, good from the inside and in the mid-range area as well. Now, he's not the most shifty or the most athletic guard out there, otherwise he would have been a top higher pick, but he's not, and he was selected 21 mainly because, if I was to guess, because of his size. But his rookie year, if he was to come out the room averaging something like 10 to 12 points, I would not be surprised in the slightest at all. I can see peak Tyrese Maxey alongside a peak Joel Embiid and peak Ben Simmons averaging a cool 18 to 17 points per game on stellar efficiency. That's just the type of player that he is. Jaden McDaniels' draft stock has haunted and hunted him down up until a few nights ago, to where he found out he was going to be 28th pick going to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, in my opinion, this man is just about prime to be a steal. His draft stock fell not due to his talent and skills, because his skills and talent is not really into question, and his potential isn't into question as well. The man is a solid 6'9", maybe even 6'10" small forward who has wiggle to his game, knows how to dribble, his pull-up game is nice. The only thing about him that kind of limits his potential is that he's not an elite shooter. But that being said, his shooting's not bad, it's about average. But for someone like him, prospects like him who are tall, skinny, you already know where I'm going, boy, you evil just like me. He don't have no elite, may I say, demigod type of potential. But who's to say that he cannot be able to develop the shot, the crossover, the hezzy, and mix it all together to become possibly another steal from this draft? I definitely see something like that happening. The only thing that I may worry about is the amount of shine that he would get on the Timberwolves, but the Timberwolves aren't really that deep no more from the 3 spot or 4 spot if he's going to play 4 at all. So he has that potential opportunity if the Wolves decide to play him. If not, I believe that we'll start to see flashes over the years of what his stardom could look like if he ever was to truly chase that goal. This next player up is a guard who was predicted last year to be a top 5 talent, but ended up, as we all know, selected out of the lottery. Just out of the lottery by the Orlando Magic. But him eventually being a top 5 talent wouldn't surprise me or many more in the slightest way at all. He has pretty much a full package offensively, and he has a great opportunity to showcase that in the Orlando Magic, because there's no real solidified spot on the team where, oh yeah, he's our guy for the future, other than someone like Jonathan Isaac and maybe, just maybe, Mo Bamba if he gets his stuff together. But outside of that, just about every position is available if guys like Cole Anthony are able to reach their full potential. Now, you know, sorry to say Marco Fultz, he's a great player, really improved in Orlando over the last year, but I'm sure even Magic fans can agree with me, he just won't hit as hard as that man Cole Anthony. The dream scenario and final outcome that we'd all love to have for Cole Anthony is that he eventually becomes the starter for the Orlando Magic and takes them not out of poverty but the middle class and actually be one of the better teams in the NBA instead of like one of the mid teams for the last like 5 years. I'm tired of seeing him like that, and I'm sure we're all seeing him like that. So I'm praising Cole Anthony, and I hope he's the one who's able to elevate and carry this team up on those thin shoulders to the top, or towards the top at least. Cole Anthony on this roster, out of every single player, excluding maybe Jonathan Isaac, has all-star potential, and he could be the closest thing to a superstar that they've had in a very, very long time. The opportunity is just about clear as day for Cole Anthony. That man DJ Augustin just signed with, I think, the Milwaukee Bucks the other day, and Markelle Fultz isn't really one to put all of your stock in. Cole Anthony is though, and honestly, I love the idea of having Markelle Fultz come off the bench for Cole Anthony later on down the line in the future, once Cole Anthony, you know, establishes himself as a legit starting NBA player. This man gives me the most steals vibe out of every single player in this draft, excluding maybe Tyrese Maxey. This man Cole Anthony is up next. The last player on this list that we look at potential steals from this NBA draft class is that man Devin Vassell. Now, if you've seen my previous draft videos, you know that I'm just about in love with this man, or at least I was in love with this man until that preacher video that I'm not going to show any more of his jacked up jump shot leaked out on the internet. But apparently that's not his real jump shot, and he was just toying around with a few things. Anyways, I'm going to act like that's true, and his jump shot is actually normal and as good as he was back when he was at FSU. Devin Vassell, for the most part, is just looked at as a 3-and-D prospect. While that is very true, he has a 3-and-D prospect, he can be just a little bit more than a 3-and-D prospect. He actually knows how to dribble the ball, and he has a nice little crossover, a package of crossovers, and he knows how to bundle them up well and do just enough and not do too much. He knows how to get into his places and his spots, and he has a nice pull-up game equipped as well. So not only is he an elite defender in my eyes, but also a great shooter, but he actually can dribble the ball, and for that his potential is a lot higher than many would expect it to be. The only thing that may hold him back in my eyes is opportunity. Now, that thing doesn't come around that often in San Antonio. They stingy with it over there, but they can't be stingy for a long time because he will outshine the dark place that they'll put him in. They're gonna have to put almost every single NBA nerd's favorite prospects up out there on the court, watching them go crazy, get steals, block shots, catch a few highlight dunks as well. Now, before I end this video, I just need to let it be known that I don't think that these are the only players who could be potential steals out of this NBA draft class. These are only the players who I believe in the most to be steals, but other guys, honorable mentions, are guys like that man Tyrell Terry, who's the little 6'1", 6'2" guard who, you know, NBA hype beast compared to guys like Steph Curry and Trae Young. Another one is Josh Green. That man is uber athletic and has hella potential to his game and is already a great defender. He just needs to solve his jump shot and he's good. And with a team like the Dallas Mavericks, who are really good at developing, I have no issue that this man is at least going to be a solid like 10 to 12, 15 point per game scorer sometime in his career. The last honorable mention that I have is that man Malachi Flynn. That man gives me Fred VanVleet vibes. That's just what I get, man. And if you disagree, man, that's perfectly fine. I'm gonna just need you to disagree respectfully in the comments and also leave a like while you're at it. This is the end of the video though, man. I really do appreciate you for coming over here on my channel and seeing what I have to talk about today. That's hella dope of you for you to do, you know, all this, even watching me right now. But outside of everything that I just said, I just really do hope that you take time, go ahead and actually make your day great. Outside of that, I'll get right with you.
No way, remember back when I couldn't get a play, no home, I ain't have a place to stay, show my girl